गिरिधारी राधा विनोद बिहारी जी की जय, राधा गोविंद जी की जय, राधा रास बिहारी जी की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शिला भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शिला भक्ति विज्ञान भारती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शिला भक्ति वादा गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शिला भक्ति वल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद शिला गोविंद गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अष्टोत्तर सत श्री श्रीमद His divine loving grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnupada Astotar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakshas Shri Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnupada Astotar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnupada Astotar Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanti Saraswati Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Paramahamsa Shri Gokishodas Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Sachidananda Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai, Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai, Shri Gurudeva Chai Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai, Srila Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Chai ki jai, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramdari Shri Gaur Prasad Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Antadweep Mayapur Mantadweep Godrumadweep Madhyadweep Koladweep Rudradweep Janudweep Modradrumadweep Rudratveep Pataka Shri Navadweep Dham ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Govardhan Vada Savanatmaka Shri Braj Mandal ki jai, Shri Shamakun Radhakun Jamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogomai ki jai, Gopashwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki jai, Nrsimha Bhagavan ki jai, Bhakti Pravesh Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Chara Sampradaya ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Anantikoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. The bhajan is Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Page 359, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman. Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Guru Kripa Bina Nahi koi sadhan bhat, Guru Kripa Bina Nahi koi sadhan bhat, Bhajaman bhajan anukshan, Bhajaman bhajan anukshan, Shri Guru Charana Kamala Bhajaman, Charana Kamala Bhajaman. मिलता नहीं ऐसा दुर्लभ जानम, मिलता नहीं ऐसा दुर्लभ जानम, ब्रह्मता हूँ चौरा हूँ भुवन, ब्रह्मता हूँ चौरा हूँ भुवन, किसी का मिलते आहो भाग्य दर्शन, हरि भक्तों के दर्शन, श्री गुरु चरण कमल भजमा, चरण कमल भजमा, कृष्ण कृपा की आनंद मूर्ति, कृष्ण कृपा की आनंद मूर्ति, दिन जन करुणा निधान, दिन जन करुणा निधान, भक्ति भाव प्रेम तीन प्रकाशता, भक्ति भाव प्रेम तीन प्रकाशता, श्री गुरु पतित पावन, श्री गुरु पतित पावन, श्री गुरु चरण कमल भजमा, चरण कमल भजमा, श्रुति स्मृति पुराना नमाहि, श्रुति स्मृति पुराना नमाहि, कीन स्पष्ट प्रमा, कीन स्पष्ट प्रमा, तन मन जीवन गुरुपद अर्पण, तन मन जीवन गुरुपद अर्पण, श्री हरि नाम रता, सदा हरि नाम रता, श्री गुरु चरण कमल भजमा, चरण कमल भजमा, गुरु चरण कमल भजमा, चरण कमल भजमा, जय गुरुदेवा, 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 जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, गुरु परंपरा, गुरु परंपरा, परंपरा, गुरु परंपरा, गुरु परंपरा, परंपरा, गुरु परंपरा, नित्य गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, गौरा हरि, गौरा हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदी
Hri Bol. Thank you, Radhika Didi. We're so lucky to have your Kirtan. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful. Vancha kalpa trubhischa, kripa sindhu vyevacha, patitanam pavanabhyo, Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Om Gyantiramandasya Gyanjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tashmai Shigurve Namaha. Srinara Pisu Nichina Tarora Pisa Hishnuna Amanina Manadena Kitni Sadahari Anyavalaste Sunyam Gyan Kamadhyana Vritam Anukalenya Krishnu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everybody, beautiful God brothers and God sisters, God daughters, God sons, God aunties, God uncles, God fathers, God mothers, on this wonderful Sunday. We're now, it's like a train actually, we're on the sixth glorification of Gurudev out of 63. We're going all the way to the end of his centenary of 2021. So we're just beginning to build up some real momentum. And so beautiful starting it in the month of Kartik, because many of you are also coming onto our daily Kartik programs as well. So it just feels like a daily cycle of nectar coming into our hearts, having the Kartik classes and then once a week this glorification. So we're very, very fortunate. And today we have a tremendous lineup. We have, unusually we have two couples. The one couple coming from the west side of the country in Gloucestershire, our beautiful Srimati Lalita Didi, and her husband, as you all know, Sriman Bhudhara Prabhu. They will be speaking Lalita first, then Bhudhara. And then coming all the way from Houston in America, isn't it great how we can all come together all over the world? It's fantastic. We have Srimati Hari Priya Didi, and also her husband, Sriman Sachin Prabhu. And I think again, it's in that order, wife first, then husband, no particular, it's random, so nothing, no messages in that. And then we finish with our illustrious, beautiful Maharaj from, speaking again from the United States. I think he's on the East Coast though, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj.
He's
so we have a really,
He's in Houston as well.
He's in Houston, everyone's in Houston. What's going on in Houston? So everybody is, yeah. So it's a UK, it's a UK Houston lineup today, and two couples and a sannyasi. Oh, we always mention, by the way, we have to throw etiquette slightly out of the window because of we want to get people of different seniority and also from different time zones together each week to provide the variety. It's not done in the normal etiquette of a temple, so excuse our departure from etiquette there, but I think we're all getting used to that. Yeah, let's get going. Yashodhara, have you got any announcements before I introduce Lalita?
No, just a massive thank you for everyone that is participating by speaking and listening. We're just really fortunate, so thank you. I'll leave you to introduce our super amazing couple.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to present to you Srimati Lalita Didi, who actually was brought into Krishna consciousness by her husband, Bhudhara, and from what I can see, made extraordinary acceleration very quickly. And really, from my observation, although she doesn't give a lot of Harikatha normally, so we're very honored to have her today, through her Seva, she really imbibes the mood of bhakti through her constant Seva, and her Seva imbued with love and affection. So we're going to hear the words directly as Seva, and I'm fascinated to hear what you're going to say, because I don't think I've ever heard your Harikatha. So I'm on the edge of my seat, Lalita.
Just in case you weren't feeling any pressure.
I never speak. It's all too scary, but I will
No, I really wanted to honor that, actually. I really wanted to honor that. It's very beautiful that you've you've agreed to speak. I really appreciate it.
Jai Mahaprabhu. Wow.
Jai.
Namo Om Vaishnavadaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nichinomine. Well, please forgive me for any mistakes that I make or anything. This is not something I'm used to doing at all. I came very late to Krishna consciousness. I was in my early 40s, and I'd been searching for many years, doing all sorts of things, whether it was transcendental meditation or different religions or paths, and nothing ever filled my soul. It was always empty, and I just continued the search. I had everything materially anybody could ever want in their life: big houses, money, a supportive family, but that also never filled my soul. It was always empty, and I was never content or happy. So I continued on the search, and eventually left everything materially, and was lucky enough to meet Srila Gurudev. I went to Hawaii, and on this journey to meet Srila Gurudev, and of course going to a big festival, which was incredible. And at that time I felt, wow, I've really come home. This is amazing. But Gurudev didn't come to the festival. At that time he wasn't well, and he was on another island in Hawaii. So I just embraced everything and felt just the love and the compassion from all the devotees. And then eventually, to my good luck, I did get to go to the other island and meet Srila Gurudev. And he, I think, stared at me for a very long time thinking, who's this? Bhudhara's bringing someone to Krishna consciousness. And he really, really dug deeply into my soul. But at that time, I just knew that I just wanted to give my heart to this person. This the love and the feeling of connection you have when you meet someone like Srila Gurudev. Your heart melts, and you just want to give him everything. You really just want to give your whole life. There is nothing but Srila Gurudev. And at that time I was in sort of a massive crisis and change in my life, having left everything, including at that time 4 children, which of course I went back to with the guidance of Bhudhara. Of course I wouldn't ever want to leave my children, but my heart was really, and soul was really yearning for something really deep. And I went to India for the first time. And I remember turning up at Govardhan and walking up the steps, and no one was around. Everybody was on parikram. And it was just such a big thing for me to do. And none of my family wanted me to go to India at that time. And I just walked up the steps, and I was just, streams of tears were just coming. And it was such a crisis. And Gurudev came out on his own to the front of the temple, and no one was around. And he just came up to me, and he just stood there, and he just put his hand on my head, and he just held it there, and he just said, everything will be all right. You'll never need to worry about everything. Everything will be all right. And that time I was just transported to Gurudev's world, which, no one can describe that world. It's just something that you imbibe in your soul and your heart, and you never forget it. It never goes away from you. So I always have this yearning and this goal to try my best always to please Srila Gurudev. And at that time, there was many disciples, and Gurudev's mission was huge. But I was really fortunate to have about 5 times of really personal connection with Srila Gurudev. And I learned that you really connect in your heart, and your relationship is really deep within your heart with Gurudev. And so when Gurudev left our physical eyes, I just had really deeply connected with that connection with Gurudev. So I tried always to connect him with deeply in my heart and pray to him. And Gurudev always answers your prayers. I feel if you're really praying sincerely, Gurudev's there. That is Gurudev's special gift. He's always there for us. Even if we go off the path, he's still there for us. And that's just been something that I've really held on to, that, you know, if that deep relationship that Gurudev is by your side, he's just by your side always. And I wanted to also speak to some of the people who haven't ever met Srila Gurudev. And recently, Bhudhara and I have had quite a few devotees lament and really want to meet someone like Srila Gurudev, and they hear these amazing things that everybody's glorifying, and people who have had the association of a pure devotee. And my heart has really gone out to these devotees and these people who are coming to Krishna consciousness who haven't yet met their Gurudev. And I just want to really inspire them to keep the flame alive, keep praying sincerely, because Gurudev, Krishna will arrange for you to have someone like Srila Gurudev in your life if you're sincerely praying. I really believe Krishna wants that. And I feel that by associating with Srila Gurudev's books and all his senior disciples, you can keep that flame alive and that heart yearning to meet someone like Srila Gurudev. And I feel so fortunate to have all the devotees and all the senior disciples of Srila Gurudev, which have actually so helped me on my path of Krishna consciousness. I can't, you know, I'm totally indebted to them all. And I've been fortunate to have very close association with them, which I don't know where that fortune comes from, but I've just been so lucky to be able to associate with them. And consequently, that has just given me the will to carry on this journey deeply and to be able to serve them as much as possible, just to be ever in their service. And yes, so I just, of course, am indebted to Bhudhara for bringing me to Srila Gurudev. I feel that we always feel indebted to that person who brings us to someone like Srila Gurudev. You never forget that person who takes you to someone so incredibly special. So yes, I just want to really pray and hope that anybody who is yearning for someone like Srila Gurudev, that they will, you know, get that chance. So yeah, not long, sorry, but please forgive me for anything, and thank you for letting me do a small glorification. Jai Srila Gurudev.
That was magical and beautiful, Lalita. Thank you so much. The words I circled here were when you said, I was transported to Gurudev's world. And when you said you were transported to Gurudev's world, you transported us to Gurudev's world with you in that moment. I could see that from particularly some of the ladies' reactions. They show their emotions more than we do. So beautiful. And all of that, that's the amazing thing about Gurudev and the whole Rasik nature of Gurudev, the whole subjective reality is that we're all subjectively in this beautiful relationship with our guru, in some cases even different gurus, and yet we can find the commonality of beauty between all of our shared experiences, and yet all of our experiences are so dramatically different and yet the same simultaneously. It's actually beyond comprehension. It's only in the heart. And you really shared your heart there, and I loved every minute of that. I want you back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we don't have to move very far for our next speaker.
Perhaps
Perhaps about 6 inches across Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I feel embarrassed even to introduce him because everybody knows who the next speaker is, but I have to do my duty anyhow. And I like to embarrass him anyhow, a little bit. So our next our next speaker is, I won't go over the top, but I don't worry.
Okay, good.
Our next speaker is Sriman Bhudhara Prabhu. What can I say about Bhudhara? He's helped so many devotees make transitions in their lives in all sorts of ways. He's an expert astrologer, but he's so much more than an astrologer because he's very expert in the philosophy, and in what he encapsulates for me is the ability to see the philosophy in a very broad-minded and very integrated way, somehow able to synthesize or integrate the high philosophy with day-to-day living and teach that and imbibe that and bring a lot of people along their journey. And I was fortunate enough, like Lalita, that Bhudhara was my introduction to Krishna consciousness. I don't know what bad karma he did, but I obviously did some good Sakriti there to get that association, that guidance. And I'm excited to hear his sharing with us today, his offering with us today. Bhudhara, over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Gurudeva Gaurachandaya Radhika Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Bhaktaya Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Okay, well, I'm really not prepared to speak this morning. I'm a last-minute stand-in, and so I had to run around the house trying to figure out, well, what am I going to speak about? A couple of ideas came to mind, so I'm going to ask your indulgence and patience with me because I'm going to be very improvisational today and just speak from the heart, as I always like to anyway, because for me that's the only place that counts for me. To begin, I loved Radhika's choice of bhajan this morning, and I want to just refer back to the second shloka of that bhajan. This rare human birth is not often found as we scour the 14 planes of existence. A chance few, by astounding good fortune, get to glimpse a devotee of Sri Hari. And yeah, I think I've been very lucky in my life. I started out in life a creative, disillusioned seeker, confused, disoriented, trying to seek out God, and I did it in all kinds of ways. LSD was one of the ways that I tried to do it, and somehow, my good fortune, I went on a school bus trip to Boston, and there on the Boston Common, I encountered the Harinam Sankirtan party. And they were all there. This is about this would be about 1969. And we were walking there. It was all my school friends. And we're walking down a common, and there they are. And it was absolute pure magic. It was like watching, I thought afterwards it might have been a little residual effect of one of my LSD trips, but I had this kind of hallucinatory experience of what I saw in front of me, the chanting, the dancing. Everybody was so happy. Their smiling faces. The Maha Mantra rang out and really touched me. Somehow or another, my friends earlier had introduced me to chanting, so I had already been chanting. But when I saw the devotees for the first time, it left a really big impression on me. And when they stopped chanting, they talked about their books. And so I went up and I bought every book that they had. I bought a stack of Back to Godhead magazines, and I put them in my school bag. And I took them back to my high school, and I started distributing them to all my friends. And that began what I sometimes jokingly think of, what is my place in the spiritual world? And, sometimes laugh and think, well, it might be as a member of the Postal Service, because, because in my life one of the great good fortunes that I've had, one of the great pleasures I've had is in introducing people to the association of Sri Hari's pure devotees. And then, of course, that's most especially through Srila Prabhupada, who not long after I saw those devotees on the Boston Common, I went away to my first year in art school, and I was in art school for about a month, and I thought, I can't take it. And I asked my friends, well, where's the Hare Krishna temple? And they took me there, and I went to the Sunday feast, and they took me into Tulsi Devi's room, which was brightly lit with glow lights, and one devotee with great passion and vigor started preaching to me about my eternal soul. And I had already read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita by then. And so I decided, okay, well, I'm going to move into the temple. And I moved into the temple, and a few days later, there I was back out on the street selling books and magazines. And so this idea of the great good fortune, some living entities have the chance to associate with the devotee of Sri Hari. I remember Prabhupada telling us that, I said, well, what do I really know? I don't know anything. And I was told, well, it doesn't really matter because you're just a delivery boy. Just take the books and put them in people's hands, and they will have a chance to associate with the book Bhagavata. And that book Bhagavata is as good as the person Bhagavata. And you will create their good fortune. And, somehow or another, I got a taste for that. Even though, I'm not the best postman. I don't follow all the different, I'm not a great devotee, but I get a real kick out of doing that. And if I look back at that time, it was a really important time in the world. The world was in great calamity. There was great uncertainty. There was a big war in Vietnam. Many of my friends had gone to Vietnam and died, or came back completely broken spirits. There was the hippie revolution, resisting all the great corporate interests that were destroying the world. That kind of helped a little bit, but you know, it's still going on. But it was an inflection point in history because Prabhupada came and Prabhupada opened the portal to the spiritual world by his presence, by his preaching, by his prolific writing, and by opening so many temples. And in a way, I think we're at such another similar time right now. There's that Chinese curse, which is, may you live in interesting times. And oh boy, do we live in interesting times now. And I'm remarking to myself that Srila Gurudev came at just such an important time as well in history. And he unpacked or revealed the deeper Siddhanta of our philosophy in ways that have helped us, most of us, I think, certainly more than me, but mature in our understanding of the practice of bhakti. And where is this really taking us? What is our prayojan? What is the goal of our whole spiritual journey? And so I think the point that I'm trying to get at, and I warned you that I was going to be a little improvisational and a little bit random, but I think the point that I'm trying to get at is that you are now part of history. I can, you know, like my godbrothers, you know, you probably get really bored with us because we always come in and we tell those stories that I just told. You know, well, when I was a new devotee, I went and I did that, and I did a lot of books, and I was the Prabhupada, you know, right? I mean, with all due respect, but we do have a tendency as old guys in rocking chairs to sit back and forth and talk about the great old days, don't we? But you are now in the middle of the great old days, except the great old days are not old, they're new. This is an important time, and you're living in it. And you have a job to do. You have a role to play. And I think it's a misunderstanding to think that in our practice of bhakti that it's only about our sadhan bhajan, our solitary sadhan bhajan. It's only about what's going on in your heart, in your relationship with Krishna, because this is the Sankirtan movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the Gaura Yuga. And Srila Prabhupada taught us, of course, Gurudev brought in a different emphasis. Thesis, what is that? Anyway, point counterpoint.
Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis.
And synthesis, right? So the synthesis in my mind is that we have to deepen in our practice of spiritual life. We have to really try to genuinely love our guru and serve our guru. But we can't forget the conditioned souls that are suffering in this world. They're just like us. And they deserve a chance to enter into this completely beautiful realm of Krishna consciousness. I remember when Gurudev started printing his books, of course that had been going on for some time, but Yasodanandan and I were there, and there were others, Ananga Mohini, Krishna Kanta, others, and we all participated in organizing printing of some of his books. And some of the books were actually really quite deep and very esoteric. And so the question was, do we give these to people? And will they be qualified to read them? And Gurudev looked at us and, you know, said, yes, you give them. The book creates the qualification. So the book Bhagavata is the same as the devotee Bhagavata, the person Bhagavata. And so you can ask yourself, well, are you qualified to enter into that association? Am I qualified to enter into that association? Who's qualified? If we had to go on the basis of qualification, Mahaprabhu would have skipped this time around. And he would have said, nah, they're qualified. They can do it on their own. But because we can't do it on our own, because it's the Kali Yuga, because we're so broken, we're so dented. What do they, like in America, they have outlets that sell seconds, right? So you have posh designer clothes, but then you can go and buy the ones that they made mistakes with. So we're kind of like the mistakes. So I think that my point is that we're at an inflection point. You're an important part of history. The Brihat Madanga is now more than books. It's the Zoom Kirtan that we're doing here. And we should be thinking creatively how to advance this cause, to share this with as many people as possible. And I'm conscious of the time, so I am going to wind up really soon. And
you're good for time, Bhudhara. You're good.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to share something really secret and confidential with you. Yeah, and I think for some of you, you're going to be very curious about what I'm going to talk about. But an anonymous senior Vaishnava scholar and practitioner of many years has shared with me a book called that they wrote. I'm not revealing gender, so I'm using the new grammar, not he, she, but they. A book they wrote called The Gaura Yuga Manifesto. And it's an absolute work of genius. It's literally breathtaking to read this. The realizations and the insights that are in the approximately 100 A4 pages of this book are a profound call to action. A profound call for all of us to do our very best through a process of deep prayer and reflection and deep association and support to each other, to once and for all rise out of our Kanishta thinking and enter into the doorway of Madhyam reality. And in that Madhyam reality, taking up the responsibility that we have as being disciples of these great souls. And doing our very best to not just live the philosophy according to our capacity, but to share it with other people. I've only shared the document with 2 or 3 persons. And the ones that I have shared it with have come back to me with the same kind of, it's genius. So those of you who are serious and who want to kind of move into a new domain in your spiritual practice, I'm not saying that I'm able to do what this book is calling for, but I recognize it as a historical work. I recognize that it's coming at this inflection point in history. I'm recognizing that It's especially a call to action in the younger generation of Vaishnavas, second, third generation Vaishnavas. Because, you know, in many ways, by the time I was your age, I was already an old man. I started this out when I was 17 years old. So there's no time to waste. You still have your youth, well, by comparison to me anyway. And so why not put our heads together and figure out how we can really take this mission forward and fulfill Gurudev's request to share his books and his teachings like we did with at Srila Prabhupada's time. Those of you who are interested, I can put my email address in the chat session. If you contact me, I'll send you a copy on the proviso that you keep it for now to yourself and that you agree to share with me a few words of feedback on what your experience of reading the book is. Okay, that's my little improvisation for the morning. Thank you very much. Haribol, Radhisham.
Haribol, Bhudhara, Prabhu. Sometimes improvisation is the best. It means that only Guru is coming through, nothing else, because you haven't got time to think of anything else. I mean, so many things resonated and hit home with me on that. As you've shared about that book, I won't steal any of the thunder. All I will say is you kindly shared it with me, and you are absolutely not overselling that book. It is astounding. It is absolutely astounding, and incredibly well timed. And there are a couple of words that came out in your offering that really hit home. One was the idea that this is another inflection point in history. It's like another way of saying that it's like a leverage point. There are certain times and dates in history where a small amount of people can have a massive amount of impact at a certain point in time due to particular conditions arranged by the Lord. And I do feel that is happening now. And then the other thing you said, you talked about getting onto a more Madhyam conception of our philosophy and the importance of giving each other support and affection. And this support and affection is, I really feel, I mean, I haven't finished that document yet, but I really feel that's what it's driving at ultimately, is the need to translate, like how I introduced Lalita earlier. You know, she doesn't normally give Harikatha, but she imbues everything she does in the love and affection of her Seva to yourself and your family and to many, many devotees. And in the same way, that support, we're not about just recycling Shastra and talking Shastra. Sometimes when we learn these verses and we learn them so well, we forget what they mean. They only mean something if they are in our hearts, living in our hearts like Gurudev, as Gurudev, and coming through our actions. And it's only really the taster of our behavior who can determine whether we're behaving with that love and affection. So that really, really hit home for me. And I wanted to make one last point, which was that a few of us had organized to do London Sankirtan on November the 14th, which is next Saturday. By the way, as an astrologer interested, you'll be interested to know that's Chaturdasi, right in the middle of Kartik. And we planned it before the lockdown happened. So we're at the moment doing a whole load of legal research to see how we can, you know, do it in a sensible way so we don't end up in a police cell, but still do Sankirtan. So it's a small thing, but it came from a deep desire from some of us where we felt that unless we're sharing, as you said, that compassion with the living entities who are not devotees yet, how can I call myself a devotee? It doesn't matter how much I read or chant. If I'm not doing Sankirtan, if I'm not distributing books, how can I look at my Gurudev and say I'm a devotee? I can't really. And I need to be able to look at my Gurudev and say, I really am a devotee. I'm really doing the Seva. And that means Sankirtan, that means books. So I just wanted to share that with you.
That's really wonderful, Prabhu. Really great. I think that, just to reiterate your reiteration, you know, that really, and this is always, Srila Prabhupada asked us as he was leaving, the last thing request was to cooperate. And Gurudev, by his example, he always, you know, was always so loving and so caring about everybody. And he created a beautiful family around him where everybody felt seen and everybody felt valued and everybody felt that they had a place. And I feel that we're moving in that direction again now. You know, there's an awakening now, and everybody's recognizing, just intuiting that, you know, this is an inflection point. Let's get going. Let's do something. Let's at least help each other as best we can.
I believe Prabhupada actually said that you will show me how much you love me by the degree to which you cooperate with one another.
Yeah,
that's pretty profound.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bhudhara.
We
We may have to do another impromptu soon to if we're going to get that result. Thank you.
So you called me. That's how it works.
What's that, Bhudhara?
Well, if you want that, then you have to call me at the very last minute.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But,
you think that was just spontaneous? That might have been planned. You don't know.
I didn't plan it. That's for sure.
Haribol.
Raghava Panda Prabhu, did you have something to say? Did you want to say something? Because your hand's raised on the chat.
No, I just wanted to ask Bhudhara Prabhu to speak a little about this beautiful Mahaprabhu that was in the middle. This is kind of like obvious person there. So I wondered about the history, but
he Sudevi and Larli were in Navadvip Parikrama. I guess it was about 7 or 8 years ago. And they called us like really excited. And they said, oh my God, such a sweet Mahaprabhu. Oh, we have to have him. You have to have him. He's told me that he has to come to your house. So can you send 200 pounds by Western Union so that we can get him for you? So we did sight unseen, and then they got him and they took him back, and he had his own seat on the airplane somehow, and here he is. So that's the story.
Thank you so much, Bhudhara Prabhu, and thank you so much, Lalita Didi. Actually, I feel really fortunate that Lalita Didi, you actually took time to share something with us, because actually you put me in tears. I was just sobbing through it all. But I want to emphasize the fact that you don't ever speak in public to anybody, and I want the devotees that are watching this that don't probably know you. I don't know you really well, but I know that you don't speak so much in public, and for you to open your treasure chest and give us a piece of that jewel that you gave, I'm just so grateful, and I'm so thankful to you. I'm sorry, my phone's just constantly buzzing. And Bhudhara Prabhu, thank you again for expressing the depth of our Guru Varga. Actually, we need to understand this to be able to grow and progress, because Gurudev always used to say to us, don't stay where you are, you need to progress, you need to grow and develop. So thank you so much for stepping in, and also I think it was Gurudev definitely saying something through you to us as well.
I think the essential message is that you have a place in history.
Yeah, just got to embrace it.
Let go and embrace it.
So now moving from the helping printing press with Bhudhara Prabhu and Sachidananda Prabhu, we're going to the distribution factory with Sachin Prabhu and Haripriya Didi in the US. They're another elite couple that have, yes, I said don't. I can see your faces, guys. They're another elite couple that are a great example of a Grihastha family. They, Sachidananda Prabhu has spent since his childhood with Srila Gurudev. When Srila Gurudev came to the West in Houston for the first time, he went to stay with Srila Gurudev in his home. And these two couples are always serving Vaishnavas, always taking time and going out of their way to serve. So I actually really, I've only got to know them over the last year or so, but I'm loving who they are as people, and I feel very inspired to do Seva when I'm speaking to either one of them. So I'm gonna stop embarrassing you both, and I would like to introduce our dear god brother and dear god sister, Sriman Sachidananda Prabhu and Srimati Priya Didi. You can choose the order.
Well, I don't have a choice because you just said you're going first. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, everyone. Yashodhari Didi, first of all, thank you for getting us up early on a Sunday morning. This is amazing. And to hear from the OGs, Yashodhanand Prabhu, Bhudhara Prabhu, and then now I see Raghav Prabhu and Bhanu Didi, I feel so embarrassed. And everyone else, I don't know a lot of the devotees here, but I feel so embarrassed. I feel completely unqualified to speak on this platform. But it's so nice on a personal level to see all of you, because you have hosted me in your homes so graciously. I think in 2009, when I was preaching with, well, I wasn't preaching, I was just the extra with Chandramukhi. So brings back lovely memories. So, okay. I'm doing a bit of an improv as well, because I wasn't really sure how and what to speak, but hearing so many lovely things from Lalita Didi and Bhudhara Prabhu, I feel so inspired now to share my few experiences with Srila Gurudev. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Guruve Gaurachandaya Radhikaya Stadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Again, my Dandavat pranams onto the feet of all the assembled devotees here. And I beg for the mercy of Srila Gurudev that I can speak and glorify him even a little bit. So I can speak a little bit about how I met. I can't look at my face. I need to see something else. Let me look at your shoulder. Oh, I can't. Oh, I can't see anything else. I can't. There we go. Okay. So yeah, Gurudev. So I was 12 when Gurudev came to New Zealand. I grew up in New Zealand. He came there for the first time. He had been to Fiji before that, so he was already in touch with the Punjas. And due to the mercy of the Punjas, they organized for him to come to New Zealand. And I remember it was in the year 2000, and he came. We saw, one of my family members saw like his flyer in like the Indian grocery store, and it was my auntie, and she brought it home, and my father actually recognized his name from when he had heard, I mean, he remembered his name from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita, and so he recognized that, oh, this is a senior Gaudiya Vaishnava, we must, from someone who knows and has associated with Srila Prabhupada, so we must hear from him. So we kind of anticipated Gurudev's arrival, and it was a couple months, and I remember having this flyer on the fridge, and finally the day came, and he had like a whole week of Harikatha planned at like the Hindu temple, one of the oldest Hindu temples in Auckland. And the first day we went there, he actually wasn't there. Some of his senior disciples, some sannyasis were there, and they were speaking, but Gurudev wasn't there. He actually got delayed coming in from Hawaii. So I remember hearing Katha from his, I think it was like Priya and Prabhu and so many other people, and was really blown away by like the Hari Katha. My whole family was, and they, I remember my parents thinking like, if the disciples are speaking so like such high class Hari Katha, like what is this caliber of their guru? So then the next day came, and then we went back, and there he was. I remember walking into the temple, and we could hear him before we saw him. And I just felt like, oh, this is Prabhupada, like this is Prabhupada's voice. And for some reason, I just like really felt like this is our Prabhupada. And then going in, there's so many people. The temple was very full of just kind of regular Hindu people, but it was like about 500 people there. You have to plug it in here. And we were sitting right at the back, like right where the entrance is, and we didn't actually go like, we heard the katha, and then we didn't actually go and meet Gurudev on that day, but we did meet a lot of like, you know, we went Prabhu and Prabhu, Aranya Maharaj at the time, and some other devotees, and they saw that my parents had tila, because we were already like going to ISKCON since I was a baby. So these devotees actually talked to my parents, and I remember Srimati Shamrani Didi, they needed some people to host devotees, and so I think Srimati Shamrani Didi at that time needed a place to stay. So we, you know, we're kind of talking about that, and we were like, yeah, we can host anyone. And so that was kind of what happened on that day. But then the next day we got so busy because of like, we were hosting people, and then we had someone come over, so we actually didn't go the next day. And then the fourth day went back, so it was the second time we're seeing Srila Gurudev. And this day, again, we're sitting right at the back, but at the end of the katha, we saw that all the devotees are going up and touching Srila Gurudev's feet. And this was not something, you probably know that it doesn't happen in ISKCON, so we weren't used to it, but we're like, hey, everyone's touching his feet, let's go. And I remember telling my parents like, hey, let's go, let's get our blessings as well. So we went all the way up. We went, after he spoke Hari Katha, he was kind of walking through the crowd, and then we went right in front of him, touched his feet, and then he looked right at us. He looked right into my mother's eyes, and he said, like, kal kyun nahi aayi? Meaning, why did you not come yesterday? That was the first thing that he said to like my family and my mom. And we just didn't even know how to react, because the first day we came, we were right at the back. He has no idea who we are. Hundreds of people there. And then that was the first thing. He just like completely like claimed us like right then in the first meeting, just, okay, that's exactly what happened. I think it was that night we went home, and my parents said to my brother and I that we just want to tell you both that we are going to take initiation from him. And I was like, yeah, that, it just felt so perfect and so right. And, my parents had been in ISKCON for 15 years prior to that, and always searching for a guru, but never happened. So then, just in this one meeting, it was like, sold. So that was my first, impression of Srila Gurudev. And then the next morning, actually, my parents went to the Punja's home where Srila Gurudev was staying, and early in the morning for their initiation. And we we went. There was no one there in the house, actually. These days it was quite like, early days in New Zealand. It was the first, time he was there. There was no one really. So we were there, and Srila Gurudev was in his room, and my parents went in to get their mantra, and me and my brother were sitting outside in like the living room. And then literally like few minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes into this meeting behind closed doors, Brajanath Prabhu came out and he says, Srila Gurudev wants you both to come in as well. And we were just like, wow, that was quick. Okay. And we went in. And so my brother and I were like 12 and 13, we'll go in, and then Gurudev starts to give us initiation. He gave us Gopal Mantra. We're just, my brother and I, just looking at each other, thinking, what is happening? So yeah, he gave us Gopal Mantra, and then I was kind of thinking, do we get Harinam as well? It just happened. So it was like so spontaneous. I was so confused. I remember like walking out, and my brother just said, this is what they warned us about. He's like a full on like ISKCON, still very loyal to ISKCON. And he was like, this is it. But yeah, he loves Gurudev. But so there I was, I had Gopal Mantra from Gurudev the day after, like, we met him. And then we invited him over for a lunch, like a day or two later. And when they found out that we're from South India, from Bangalore, Gurudev says, oh, I want to have dosa. Mom says, of course, anything. Then she was told that he doesn't take urad dal. It's not good for his diet. Dosa, I mean, if any of you know, like, has urad dal and rice are the two main ingredients in dosa. So my mom was thinking, okay, this is a bit of a challenge. He wants to have dosa, but he can't have urad dal. Fine, she decided to make it with chana dal. And so it's not the same, it doesn't ferment the same. And it's yellow. The dosa is different. It's not like fluffy and crispy. And so when we're serving, Gurudev was over at the house, and when we were serving him, I remember, like, I think lunch was first, and then he spoke after. And and all the devotees came. It was like at least, I think 30, 40, and because we had family as well there. So it was like 30 or 40 people. And my mom was going crazy just making dosa for everyone. But then Gurudev had his like special dosa. They were yellow and everyone else's was white. And he was sitting right in the middle of the living room, and everyone was sitting around him, and he was just having prasad with everyone. And he just looked really disappointed at what was on his plate. And he kept looking at everyone else's plate, and literally like that. And he asked, why is mine different? And then my mom explained, like, you can't have urad dal, this is a special dosa for you. Then he was quiet, completely quiet, but he wasn't happy. Like, he was just like he looked really grave, actually. And then it was almost the end of prasad, and like everyone was getting up, and Madhav Maharaj got up to use the restroom, and he walked out. Immediately, he's like, go and get me a regular dosa. And he's like, I want what they're having. And my mom, she's thinking like, oh my God, what do I do? But, you have to follow your Gurudev's instructions. So she went and she got him like a beautiful, like white, crispy dosa. And he was so happy. He was eating so quickly. And it was just really like crazy. For everyone was just laughing. Everyone was seeing what's happening. then Mother Maharaj came out, and yeah, it was not pretty. He was like yelling at him, and there was shouting going on, and then Gurudev's shouting back, and me and my parent family is just like, what's going on? We've never seen anything like this. You know, the like awe and reverence that these ISKCON sannyasis had when they came over, and we had them over all the time. So different. And here's Mother Maharaj like just screaming at Gurudev, and then Gurudev screaming back, and then looking, and we're just feeling like, oh shoot, we're in trouble. And then Gurudev like sees us and says, don't worry, he's not Mother Maharaj, he's Dr. No. He's just Dr. No. No for everything. It was really funny. Yeah, so I think like just Gurudev stole our hearts like instantly with his dealings with his his devotees. Is so sweet, and the way he spoke to my mom, like just calling her Beti. And one thing is that he was always very partial to his daughters and called them in Hindi like with tu or tum, in a singular informal affectionate way. With my father, whose name is Krishna Kanta Das, but his previous name is Krishna Rama Rao, so he would call him Rauji, so with the G, and always saying Aap, which is a respectful address. So but with his daughters, he was always like tum. And so it's really sweet. And yeah. So then he spoke some katha, and after that, I remember I was videoing him, and I was right in front of him. I think he was about to leave, and he told me to put my camera down, and I did, because he looked at me and he was kind of serious. He put the camera down, listen to me. So I did. And then he asked me, what is bhakti? And I said, devotion. I couldn't really answer. And then he looked at Srimati Shamanani Didi, who was standing right behind me. And he told her he said, you must teach her what is bhakti. Anya Bilashita Sunyam. So then the next morning, she called me at like 4 or 5 in the morning. And, if anyone knows, everyone knows the way Shamarani Didi is and how seriously she takes all of Gurudev's instructions. And she drilled this verse in word for word, not only the verse, but the translation. Yeah, so, and then, had us recite it back to Gurudev, and he was very happy. So, yeah, I don't know, like what my time is. I think I'm probably going over. I have no idea, but just one small pastime. Gurudev came back not every year. Sometimes we met him in Australia, which was only a few hours away. And I think he came back, in 2007 or 8, this happened. Similar pastime where he was over at our house, and this time he was staying at our home. And the day he was leaving for the airport, we had this bowl of like honey roasted almonds in front of the altar that had just been offered, and Gurudev really liked those, but he wasn't allowed to have them because they're not super healthy, and he would only have like the soaked peeled almonds, and he knew that he's not allowed to have them. And he's going to the airport, and he just took one, and I think everyone saw him take one, and he ate it, and it was fine. No one said anything. He liked it. So then when no one else is looking, he took a whole handful of them, just shoved it in his pocket very quickly, And he's like looking that, you know, Bharjanath Prabhu and Mother Maharaj are not looking. And my mom saw this. She told me about this later. And she was thinking, you know, like honey roasted almonds, they're sugary, they're sticky, and he's about to go on a plane. Like he's gonna so she's like handing him like a serviette, like, please put it in this paper. And he's like, like, don't bring any attention to this. So he was always super sweet and playful. And like, you know, one time he wanted to have like this soda. It was like this lime soda. I think it's called Lift. It might be available in the UK. And he wasn't allowed to have it, but he wanted to have it. And it was just really like cute over the years to see all these little, you know, Gurudev being naughty. So I'm gonna finish up. He, on a more serious note, he was always so encouraging with me, with trying to get me to serve, to preach. And when I moved to Australia, he was so like fatherly and protective. He knew that I moved to Australia for uni, for college, and he would keep kind of tabs on me. He would tell me to like always be in association of Chandramukhi Didi and Ragleka Didi, and then every time I went there, he came there, he would ask, where is Rauji's daughter? Where is Rauji's daughter? And I would hear about this later if I'm coming to the festival late. And he was just so sweet and so loving, and always told me to preach. And like, I never really did, even though he even told me one time, after you finish your education, don't do service, in the sense, don't go to work, go and do prachar. And I feel like he had a lot of hope that I would serve him, but over the years I feel like I've never really made efforts to fulfill his desire and his instructions, but he keeps engaging me in after so many years. I still feel like, you know, I may have forgotten, but he has not forgotten. He keeps coming and saying, do this, do that. I got married to Sachidananda. Our lives are super parallel. The Gurudev was coming to Houston like since '96, and Sachin was having his own like experience with Gurudev. And I think like even just getting married and just being in like the same environment, it was, again, this totally different story, but completely Gurudev's arrangement. And like, yeah, I was just saying about with Seva, I feel like he's organizing the Seva for me, like on a platter, like do this, do that. Like just now, Shamali has been here for 6 months and just completely engaging me more than I can handle, with her painting and just so many, you know, digital things. And then the Yashodhari comes to me with, you know, and Sulata with like this audiobook reading, because Gurudev knows how useless I am with like reading his books, and I'll like start a book, I won't finish it. So now I'm actually reading it and recording it, and for the Seva, I'm actually actually engaging myself in my own purification. So I feel like, you know, Gurudev, he's just so merciful that he just organizes everything. And anyway, I'm gonna finish. I'm sorry, I'm just like rambling, and yeah. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
We love that. Thank you.
Yeah, Haripriya Didi, my cheeks are actually just hurting of complete laughter. I love that. Sachin Prabhu, would you like to, Sachidananda Prabhu, I should use your full name properly. Would you like to go next?
Sure. Omagyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaye Priyatmane Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyev Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So first of all, I'd like to offer my millions of obeisances unto the lotus feet of my beloved Sripad Padma and Nitya Vishnu Sotar Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Then I'd like to offer my millions of obeisances unto the lotus feet of all of our Guru Parampara and to all of you. Oh, sorry. I see a number of faces that I recognize, and you all probably don't know me actually, but I recognize you all from various times that you might have come to Houston, or maybe I saw in India. So my pranams unto you. And I remember Madhurat Prabhu, of course, I see you, and Bhudhara Prabhu, who came to Houston many times, and then some of you who came but I never met or never talked to. So thank you all, so much for inviting Priya and I to come and speak. It's really quite, when we got the invitation, we were very honored. And I can say that, Didi was very, very sweet. It's probably the sweetest invitation because it would be an automatic no almost if anybody asked us to speak. But the way she sent us the message was very, very nice. And so I thank you for that. I guess I had a very kind of opposite experience probably than Haripriya. Because I was, Haripriya, as you can imagine, she was very pakka and followed everything. And, there was, she fulfilled Gurudev's desires, whereas I was the exact opposite. So if you can imagine a person that is one of those good for nothings that sit on the side and is like, why is this guy over here? That's probably who I was. So Gurudev came to Houston. Actually, Houston was the first stop in America for Gurudev ever in Houston. And he came to our house to stay with us. And the backstory is that, my family and I used to go to ISKCON, but we were also probably one of those good for nothing families that went to ISKCON, where we'd show up really late. We'd show up for Aarti and then we'd eat prasad and leave. We never talked to anybody. It was, very much like a general, Hindu family, I guess. And we were just pretty useless, and we didn't follow anything. Chanting is so far like out at that point. It was like, just go and attend Aarti, fold your hands. My mom would say, bow down, and that's it, leave. So for those of you who know Sriman Vishnu Prabhu, he was obviously in touch with Gurudev at that time. And he was a student at the university. So he had a small apartment. And, Gurudev is coming in 96. And so he's the only one that really knew him. And we knew Vishnu Prabhu from the temple, and he would talk to my parents sometimes because he's a preacher. If you know him, he's a preacher. And my parents probably didn't listen very much, but he was a preacher. And so we had a house. And so he asked my parents, he said, can you host a saint from India? And my parents were like, what? I guess after, I don't know the backstory because I was a kid, but, I guess they agreed. And so I remember one of the first things Gurudev needed to get a visa was that he needed a letter from a family that says we'll take responsibility for him. And so when my dad heard this, he's like, how am I supposed to take responsibility for someone I don't know? And so, you know, you have to send like your bank details, and then you have to write a letter saying, you know, my dad's name is Sushil. My name is Sushil. I take responsibility for Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and anything that happens in America is my responsibility. And so my dad, you know, not ever doing that in his life, anyways, hands the documents over. So that was a bit unusual for us. And mind you, I'm 10 years old at the time. So when Gurudev first came to our house from the airport, we were told by Vishnu Prabhu that 4 people would be there. So it would be Gurudev, Madhav Maharaj, Brajnath Prabhu, and at the time, Pundarik Prabhu. Of course, if you know how Srila Gurudev travels, he doesn't travel with just 3 people. So my dad brought him home. We were all at home, and we opened the front door, and this is like 25 people. And we're just like, oh my God, what's going on here? And my mom, she obviously prepared prasad for like 5-10 people. And so yeah, it was a bit of a bang, you know, in our house for a week. And I'll just share a few things that, like, how backwards we were, I guess, is that, you know, Gurudev would come. We didn't really know how to treat him. We never dealt with a sannyasi in our life. Of course, someone like Gurudev never dealt with anybody. And I think it was also very just unusual to have devotees everywhere. And
Making international calls.
it was, yeah, it was. So, you know, if you know an Indian, I guess, business family, you'll know that they're very cheap, extremely cheap. And so we had, you know, we had people sleeping like under the couch. We had like, we gave up as a kid, you know, you have your bedroom, that's your place. We gave up our bedrooms, like we slept all in my parents' room. It was so far out, you know, for us. And then, you know, we never woke up at 4:30 in the morning. So we're all sleeping, and then bang, 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 you know, Mangalarti is like, what's going on? You know, all of us kind of scramble. And it was just such a far out experience for us. And yeah, so that was our first experience with Srila Gurudev. And it was a really, I'll tell you another story. So my dad, again, being a very cost conscious person, you know, when we'd have 25 people over for a morning walk, it'd be like, he'd be thinking about the food costs. And when devotees would come over, they'd pick up the house phone. And of course, at that time, there was no cell phones or anything like that. And, you know, like Madhav Maharaj and Brajnath Prabhu, they'd be calling India or Europe, and he would just be thinking about the bill that would come at the end of the month for the long distance charges. So we did all sorts of things. We would hide the phones. We would, I mean, yeah, it was really very, very interesting. But anyways, going on about Gurudev, just is that it was a really special time. Like if I think about it, which I do a lot, but you know, at the time Gurudev wasn't nearly as quote unquote popular. And so, you know, in the evenings, he would just come and sit on the couch in the house, just walk out of his bedroom. He'd turn on the Indian news channel, and we'd just watch news with him. And then he would talk to my family, and there wasn't any like, oh, these are entering hours, or these are the times you can go and see him, or anything like that. It's more like he just had the door open. I'd walk in, I'd grab something from the room if I needed something. I'd talk to him, and my parents would talk to him. And it was very much like when people say, you know, he became part of your family, is really, really just that. And it's a really special time, actually. So I think
he came back every year.
He came back for many, many years. And that's how it was. And that's how I'd always experience it. And after some time, Gurudev would start going to other people's houses. And I remember being a kid, and it started becoming where he would spend 3 days at our house and 3 or 4 days at someone else's house, because people were saying, well, why is he always staying at Sushil Prabhu's house, you know? And Madhurvat Prabhu might remember this, transferring houses in the middle of the week and stuff like that. So in any case, I remember crying as a kid, just saying like, why is he leaving? Why does he not love us? Why does he go to other people's houses? Who cares about other people? So that was the mentality. You know, Vasanti Didi shared with me some pictures a couple of weeks ago of pictures in the 90s when Gurudev was at our house, because we never took any. But, you know, I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts around Gurudev, and, you know, I never wore a tilak. Like that was just like, so, you know, I never imagined that I would ever do that anyways. So I guess what I'm trying to make the point is that they talk about like causeless mercy of a acharya, and it's really, can I get some more? It's really, if there's anybody that could give causeless mercy to, I think our family was very much one of the prime candidates. I wanted to share a couple of random incidents. Unfortunately, I don't have any foodie incidents like Hari Priya, but I'll share a few. It was more like Gurudev used to reprimand us a lot because we didn't know what we were doing. And so I remember one day, this was many years later, I was about 17, 18 years old. And I had just, I was almost graduating college. And I think I'd walked home, and it happened to be my last day of university, and he was at the house. And we went into his room, and my parents, you know, said, oh, you know, this is Sachin's last day of university. He's finished school. Gurudev was like, oh, very good. And then he said, how many malas are you doing? How many rounds are you doing? And I said, 1. And he said, your education, your wealth, your family, all of this is useless. All of this is useless. You're chanting 1 round, you're wasting your life. And I remember thinking, I was walking in with a mood like, yay, I finished university. Like I'm a qualified person. I'm an adult now or whatever. And here Gurudev is like, you are, you know, absolutely nothing. And I think I read Walking with a Saint many years later, and that line is actually in the book, and I remembered it very vividly. So that's one of the moments, is like, you know, he being the grandfather of our family, he was very loving, but also making sure we were on track. And I guess I just want to share one more thing, is that when I think the last thing that Gurudev, the last time I ever saw Gurudev was in Delhi when his departure pastimes were happening. And I remember my dad and my mom sitting at the kitchen table, and they were like, you know, Gurudev is unwell. And my dad saying, you know, I'm going to go and see him. And I don't really know what happened that time, but I said, I'm going to come with you. And mind you, I never really had like deep attachment to Gurudev, in the sense like, excuse me, like everyone of your calibers, it was more like there was a once a week event in Houston, and I really enjoyed it. And that was it. And but I said, I don't know what happened to me. And I said, I'm going to come with you. And so my dad and I went, and we met him in the upstairs room, for those of you who know, in the Delhi Mutt. And I remember we were building the Houston temple at the time. So Gurudev was very much attached to that project, or very much concerned about what the progress of that project was. So it was really crazy, because we got like priority entry. You know, during that time, there was very, very few people that could visit Gurudev. But as soon as like some of the Houston Sangha members walked in. They were like, Gurudev wants to talk to you. So we went in, and Gurudev was sitting on in his bed, and he has, you know, the nose thing attached to him and all that. And it was really, really like grave scene. And they were talking about the Houston temple, and that was really the main part of the conversation. But at the very end, I was standing in the back because, again, I didn't really know much. And I went up to him, and he said, "Kaise ho?" which means, "How are you?" And I just thought, like, here's Gurudev, and there's like hundreds of people outside chanting and remembering him. Here's Gurudev, you know, like the greatest person in the world. And I'm coming to see him, but he's asking me, "How are you?" And I thought, that's really, really incredible, you know? So that's how he was. He was always very concerned about all of his disciples, those who were good and those who were not. So I think Haripriya and I feel a lot of that throughout our life. I personally feel more presence of Gurudev now than I did when I actually was physically with him, because I'm learning more about him. And I think one thing, I guess there are some folks here that haven't physically met him. So I guess the only thing I would share is that physically meeting him is not a prerequisite or a requirement for getting to know him. And I think that he's not like, I don't think he's like this person that you can say like, he's my Gurudev or he's her Gurudev or your Gurudev. I think he's kind of like our Gurudev, and he's for everybody. And
He's like the Krishna.
he's like Krishna. Yeah, he's like the Supreme Personality. You
Everyone
know?
feels
Everyone can get to know him through his pastimes and
through his books.
through his books. And so, yeah, I think, you know, it's really incredible. You can actually get to know him now probably more than ever, because I know for myself, when he was physically present, I probably, I definitely like just underestimated or did not have very clear vision. So, and not that I have it today, but certainly better than before. So with that, I think certainly time, I apologize for taking so much time, but I hope that, you know, I know for me, it's like a path down memory road. So I very much appreciate you allowing me to speak and sharing our hearts.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sachin, Prabhu, and Haripriya Didi. You've put me, I've been in fits of laughter, and now my throat is choked with emotion. And you know, this is the diversity of Srila Gurudev. He had that with everyone. He became a part, when you met him, he became a part of your life automatically without you even knowing that he was going to do that. And it's just so nice to hear how his darling sons and daughters are now becoming those that are now preaching his mission. And I just want to pick up on something Haripriya Didi said, which was that, you know, you were listening to the disciples of Srila Gurudev, and you said if the disciples are such high class, then what is the caliber of Sri Guru? Who is that? And I think that's our duty, and that's something that really stuck with me today. So I'm just really appreciative of that. So I'm thank you so much. So next we're going to move on to our final speaker for today. He is someone that again has worked in publications like his Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. He spent many years in publications for Srila Gurudev's Hindi books, and now over the last 10 years has been traveling around the world preaching Srila Gurudev's mission. And he is very heartwarming, loving and caring to many of us. And I think he's there. It's none other than our Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaji. Maharaji, are you there? Is he there?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, Maharaji.
Hare Bol. Yes. What is the order?
The order?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Bhakti Goswami Maharaji always used to ask this.
What is the order? The order is now that whatever you would like to speak about glorifying Srila Gurudev.
Yeah, it's my honor. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. My humble obeisances, the lotus feet of my Guru Maharaj, Nityalila Pravesh Om Vishnu Parastotushad Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. Similarly to my Shiksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravesh Om Vishnu Parastotushad Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Arti Goswami Maharaj. My innumerable Dandvat Pranams to the lotus feet of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada and all his associates, to Sriman Mahaprabhu and all his associates, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari and all his associates. My humble pranams to all the senior Vaishnavas. Maybe they don't know me, but I know them. Sripad Bhudhara Prabhu and Yashwadanandan Prabhu, Raghav Pandit Prabhu, Bhumipati Prabhu. All seniors are there and making me a little nervous.
Hari Bol Maharaj.
Hari Bol Prabhuji. I was hearing Sachidananda Prabhu, Hari Priya Didi. So many memories about Srila Gurudev. So I'm getting confused from where to start. If I start with foodie pastimes, I personally witnessed, I saw them. And as Sachidananda Prabhu said about the beginning of his seeing Gurudev, that's also one pastime. And there's so many memories like that. But these memories, with the help of this Zoom meeting of Srila Gurudev's memories, is reviving. Otherwise, I'm so stupid and so fallen. I hardly remember Gurudev. I wish I can remember him every day and every moment. I really, really want to do this. So I'm very much thankful for this invitation and get the opportunity to hear about Srila Gurudev. And it's not humility, it's just something true I'm speaking about. So many devotees, they don't know me. And the reason is I was kind of serving my Guru Maharaj till year 1999 when he left this world. Then I came to Srila Gurudev because I knew Srila Gurudev from my college days. It was year 1995 or I think 94. I was a student and there was one Bhagavad Sapta near to my, in the locality near to my home. And Tith Maharaj, Pujapa Tith Maharaj, whose name was Shubhanand Brahmachari, along with Krishnadas Prabhu and all some brahmacharis, Bhagavad Sapta and Srila Gurudev used to come in the last 1 hour to conclude that. So I was in my karmi clothes with one of my friend. We used to go and hear Harikatha. So I found out from Sripad Ramchandra Prabhu that Gurudev accommodation is not very good, very appropriate here. So he asked me, would you like to take Gurudev in your home? Because he knows my neighborhood, everything is nice and there is a big park to walk. I said, well, yes, sure, why not? Then he asked Gurudev, this boy, he wants to take you. And Gurudev, as he's so personal with everyone, even in the first meeting, he said, would you like to take me? No issues at home, your parents will be happy. I said, of course, Gurudev. Of course, Maharaj. So I was in contact with some ISKCON sannyasis. I used to drive for them, taking them programs. But as other speakers said, Gurudev is so personal, even though he didn't knew me. And it's the first time I'm seeing him. So he said, okay, then my luggage is ready. But who's going to bring me for evening session, Harikatha, 1 hour? I said, I will. You have car, you know driving? I said, yes, of course, Gurudev. So I brought him my home. I gave my own room to him. And Madhav Maharaj was Naveen Krishna Brahmachari that time. Only one sevak, and not many people around Gurudev. Was very quiet, So anyway, I mean, it's a long story, but I saw Srila Gurudev. He used to sit in my living room holding this songbook and he used to read. And I used to sit next to him on the floor and hearing, and I see Gurudev is like, he's moving like this and he's reciting Lalita Ashtakam, Devim Gunai Sulalitam, Lalitam Namami. Then he goes to Jamuna Ashtakam and Radha Kripa Kataksh. And I used to see him every day like this. So he stayed like 3-4 days. And as the time now, Bhagavad Sapta was over and he has to go back to Mathura. How smart Gurudev dealing with. And the words of Gurudev has so much gravity. When he was leaving, my whole family, my parents, my brother, my uncle, my aunt, everyone, following Srila Gurudev, they gave him donation, respect, garland, everything. So the car was there ready to take Gurudev to Mathura. And I just came, I think Mathura or maybe Gurudev is starting his preaching tour. First time coming to Holland. I think I'm not pretty sure about that. So anyway, I opened the door, Gurudev to sit in the car, and my parents, everyone is just behind at the gate. And I went further to open the car and made Gurudev comfortably sit on his seat, and I touched his feet. Gurudev so smartly, he took his glasses and loudly he spoke, looking to my parents, indicating to me, your parents are Vaishnavas. Because in my house, Gurudev saw Gopalji worship served from 3 generations. So Gurudev said, your parents are Vaishnav, always serve them, never offend them, always serve them. Okay? And parents became very happy. See, Gurudev has instructed our son to serve us. But this Gurudev said loudly, but he whispered something else in my ears. Okay? So the scenario is like I'm inside the window and touching his lotus feet. And Gurudev loudly said, serve your parents, they are Vaishnavas. But in my ears, he said, understand who is your real parents. Try to understand who is your real parent. And this word, keep on, I was meditating on this, what he meant. And later from my devotee friends, I understood who is the real guardian, the bona fide parents. I mean, spiritual guardian, the spiritual parent. So these words, and one more. One day I approached Gurudev, I have something personal to speak to you. Gurudev said, Naveen Krishna is here, means Madha Maharaj is here. He's my servant, so there's no formality, just speak. No, Gurudev, personal. Okay, then come 4 o'clock because he's sleeping that time. He take a nap. No one is in the room, they come back. So I came to Gurudev's room and said, hey, what is the matter? Gurudev said, I said, Gurudev, Maharaj, I used to address him, Maharaj. I said, Maharaj, before I used to chant very nicely, 16 rounds. But I'm feeling I'm not attentive while chanting. But I'm developing so much in me, by hearing so much Hari Katha, especially from you now, before from ISKCON leaders. So I'm developing very restless nature. I'm not feeling good staying at home. So can you guide me? Shall I stay at home or shall I leave home, renounce and come to stay with you in Mathura Math? Gurudev smiled. He said, I'm scared keeping boys like you in my center, Mathura. You born and brought up with so much opulence. You have servants, you have car, you have driver. So much opulence. Mathura Math is very humble. You will not get so many comforts there. You will not get warm water. You will not get so many other comforts as you are having here. I'm seeing. I said, but Gurudev, I'm very restless. What to do? I have to take decision of my life. That's the right time. Then Gurudev gave one example. He said, if you fall in love with some girl, will you ask your parents before you fall in love with someone? Will you ask their permission? Will you ask them? Or you just fall in love? I said, Gurudev, I got the answer. Maharaj, I got the answer. He said, yes, think twice before taking any decision. And that was a conviction, what he's indicating to me. And then many things happened. I've finished my graduation, etc. So I started by saying many devotees don't know me because after my Guru Maharaj left 1999, then I came to Srila Gurudev. And from year 2001, Gurudev engaged me and my godmother Madhapriya Prabhu in publication. So we were always in publication, door closed, no one knows us and we don't know anyone else. No parikrama, no Brajmandal parikrama, no Navadvip parikrama. But in Hari Katha, Gurudev always insisting, everyone should go parikrama, no matter what happens. So in Govardhan Math, Girdhari Gaudiya Math, once upon a time, in Kartik parikrama, everyone in the buses went to parikrama. So me and my brother Madhapriya Prabhu, Gurudev was, resting. He was just sitting and chanting, resting on his armchair. I asked Gurudev, we asked Gurudev, we think we are offending you because you gave instruction, everyone should go parikrama. But we are disobeying you. We are not going parikrama. Gurudev smiled and he said, what you are doing, not many people can do. You're following my instruction. You're doing so much, taking so much responsibility of publication. And you get the benefit of performing parikrama just by serving me. That the words of Srila Gurudev was a blessing. Just by following my instruction of working on my publication, you'll get the benefit of performing parikrama. That's my blessings to you. Try to be sevak. So I'm connecting these words of Srila Gurudev with a very important point. The words of Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Gosai Maharaj. The difference between sevak and volunteer. I was speaking about this yesterday in Hari Katha. Sevak and volunteer. What is the difference? Volunteer means one who don't take any responsibility. He just come and whenever desire, just walk away. You feel good in your service. If I feel good in my service, I will stay in service. If I don't feel good in service, I get criticism, I get abuse, then bye. I can't do this service. Srila Bharati Goswami Maharaj used to say this is the nature of volunteers, not a sevak. Sevak means one who, no matter what happens, never leaves his or her service. That's sevak. And volunteer means whenever you feel like, walk in. Whenever you feel like, you go walk out. Srila Gurudev always used to give emphasis on taking some responsibility. In parikramas, every brahmachari, sannyasi, grastha, vanprastha, anyone, always stay with some responsibility. You should be responsible for some service. If you're not making any responsibility, you're not devotee. And Gurudev went further to say, you're not even human being. Because animals have no responsibilities. See, I'm not saying this, just repeating the word. Gurudev was so heavy in Kartik Parikrama on everyone. Animals have no responsibilities. Human beings have responsibilities. And Vaishnavas have more responsibility. So when you take a responsibility, you are known as sevak. If you're not having any responsibility, it is volunteer service. It just depends on moods. If I'm in a mood, I will serve. If I'm not in a mood, I will not serve. That's not sevak. Sevak is surrender to his worshipper, Guru and Krishna. No matter what happens, never gives up service. Good times, bad times. Sevak. Srila Gurudev was always telling this. Take responsibility, take responsibility, take responsibility. And similarly, we Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. Responsibility. And we see the life of all acharyas, ideal sevaks, not volunteers. One simple statement, but it's not that simple. So much gravity in this. Because while serving, we go through so much hard times sometimes. And that's why I was discussing with some devotees. Srila Bhakti Thakur saying, Tomar sevai dukh hai jat sai to param sukha. In that bhajan, Atma Nivedan tuva padekari hoinu param sukhi. Srila Bhakti Thakur is saying, Tomar sevai, O Krishna, O my Prabhu, O Mahaprabhu. In your service, whatever hard time I go through, if I go through any suffering, that's my param sukha, param great happiness. Because you are the center of that suffering. Because of you. That means stick as a servant, as sevak. Volunteer can immediately give away. Sevak cannot give away. Yeah. So, how much time I have, I don't know. Because since I started now.
You have some more time, Maharaj.
Thank you. So, these are some personal interactions with Srila Gurudev. Especially, I never traveled with Gurudev outside India. In India, sometimes. But whenever there was any sickness past time, Sripad Madhav Maharaj keep me and my godbrother Madhav Prabhu in different shifts, morning and night shift, as attendant to Srila Gurudev. I used to be most of the time in the night shifts. So when we glorify Gurudev and any acharyas, sometimes it appears that we are glorifying ourselves. We want to pose up ourselves. That's not my intention right now. But because there is personal interaction, that's why we have to give some details. When I said I was serving Srila Gurudev. You understand what I want to say. When in the hospital, Gurudev in manifesting his sickness last time, he's lying on hospital bed, very weak, gone through operation, and I'm just like attendant next to the couch of Srila Gurudev. So we are there to look after him. But what I observed, he was looking after us. Because I was sleeping daytime and have to awake in the night time to look after Gurudev. The whole time I was sitting and chanting and looking at him or looking through the window. And Gurudev, his sleep is on and off. And he's looking, turning around and seeing that I'm awake. And he indicated with his eyes, go sleep. I said, and I shook my head, yes, yes. And again, Gurudev, he turned around trying to sleep, but he was not able to sleep. Then again, after 1 hour, he wants to go to restroom. And I running after him to take his hand because he was getting imbalanced while he's walking. He was so weak. And Gurudev is like, literally, he was chastising me. Why don't you sleep? Go. I'm not that weak. I can go to bathroom. I said, yes, yes, after 5 minutes. So he comes back on his bed. He came back on his bed and I again went to sleep. And again, 3 o'clock. You don't sleep? I said, Gurudev, I sleep whole day. And I'm meant to serve you in the night. No, you'll get sick if you don't sleep in the night. Whole day you work in publication. And in night, you're not also sleeping. Whenever required, I will call you. Go sleep. So I was just, pretending I'm sleeping. I just took my head down. Again, 4:30. Gurudev turned around to see if I'm sleeping or not. And I'm just pretending. But I'm looking at him like this. And, so quietly, he just get up from his bed so that I should not get disturbed in my sleep. Imagine. Who's taking care of whom? In this state, when he really needs someone to help him. He's just getting up from his bed so quietly and he's walking so softly. And then I came running behind Gurudev and hold his hand. And he literally shouted at me, "You're not obeying me. Go and sleep. I will tell Mother Maharaj today. You're not allowed to stay with me. I will tell him." I said, no. I will sleep. After you come back from restroom, I will sleep. Again, this happened. And in the morning, Mother Maharaj and Mother Prabhu walk in, and it's my time to go to apartment to take rest. So, and it's hospital, so we have to share the same restroom. I was in restroom and I overheard Gurudev is telling to Mother Maharaj, you have to change his shift. It's been so many nights he's not sleeping. And I'm worried for them because I know in the morning they're not sleeping. They're working on my books. And the night he's not sleeping. Even though I chastise him, he's not hearing. And if he will not hear me, I don't want him. And I heard this. I came out. I was like, paid obeisance to Gurudev. I said, don't snatch my service. Don't take away my service. I will make sure I will sleep today. And Gurudev said, you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. You're not obeying me. I said, I will definitely sleep. And this happened the same night. I came, I lied on my couch, the attendant seat, and Gurudev seeing I'm sleeping. Every night it was happening the same thing. But one night, while walking, and I was looking at Gurudev because he's getting upset when I'm running after him and holding his hand. But I'm very conscious looking after him. Gurudev was walking imbalance and he was just like about to fall. And I ran there and holded him. He got blackout for a few seconds. And I held him like this. Yeah. Then I said, now you tell me, if I'm not here, you know what's going to happen? So therefore, don't worry. We are trying to serve you in different shapes. So we're taking care of our health. After that, Gurudev stops saying this. He understood I really need someone all the time to look after me. My point to say here is, we think we are taking care of Gurudev, but actually he's taking care of us. Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj used to say, my Guru Maharaj, he's addressing about his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. He served me for 13 years to make me a devotee to capable to serve him back. He served me 13 years, cut the knot of my heart. The knots which I was holding, he cut those knots. So it appears that we are serving Gurudev, but actually in true sense, he serves us. He's serving us. Just like small children at home, kids. Parents look after kids. Kids cannot serve parents. Yeah. So Gurudev, by his instructions, by his Hari Katha, by his caring nature, always want his disciples to rise in bhakti, in devotion life, actually taking care of us, actually serving us, actually. And we are only pretending. Pretending. Do I have 5 more minutes? 10 more minutes?
Yes, Maharaj, you do.
Thank you. I want to share one more pastime. How Srila Gurudev, being Acharya, so exemplary and teach us by his example. This pastime is so, I don't know, my English is very bad, so please bear with me. It was this appearance day of my Guru Maharaj, and Srila Gurudev gone through operation, and after hospital, he stayed in Delhi, and Somnath Prabhu, Poonam Didi house. They have a big house, and Srila Gurudev, there are many rooms there, and Srila Gurudev was taking rest. No one was allowed to see him because for some days he need complete rest. And in that period, appearance day of my Guru Maharaj, October. So we were thinking what to do. A day before appearance day, me and my godbrother, who was serving Srila Gurudev, along with Sripad Maharaj, thinking what is our duty? Because there is celebration in Vrindavan, all Gaudiya Math devotees comes there, sannyasis comes there. So as disciples, we are supposed to go to celebrate Guru Maharaj appearance day. So we were just thinking about this. Then an idea came to my godbrother, Madhavya Prabhu. What is the need to go to Vrindavan to celebrate Guru Maharaj appearance day? When Srila Gurudev, who is not different from Guru Maharaj, is right away present here. We are supposed to worship him on that auspicious day, because he can take our offerings and can offer to Guru Maharaj. We are not capable. And we both decided it's a very good idea. So we discussed with Sripad Maharaj, and he said he really appreciated that. He said, very good decision. So then we called some of our brothers. Instead of going Vrindavan, Srila Gurudev is here. We should worship him on this day. And some of them, they agreed. Some of them, they went to Vrindavan. So Madhav Maharaj told us, arrange whatever you want to do. So we made so many preparations fruits, dry fruits, many other preparations, like 56 preparations to offer to him, and some paraphernalia to perform arati and to wash his lotus feet. We didn't inform Gurudev. We want to give him surprise. So we told Madha Maharaj, everyone is here. Now you bring Srila Gurudev outside in the living room and we will start our ceremony. Madha Maharaj went inside and asked Gurudev, come out. Whole day you're sitting in the room. You need some change. Come out in living room. Gurudev said, no, I'm good here. You go in living room. Say, no, but just come for 10 minutes. And Gurudev, like, I was standing next to Madha Maharaj and Gurudev, what is your problem? If I'm sitting here, what is the problem? I don't want to go. Madha Maharaj said, please come like this. Please come for 10 minutes. There's a surprise for you. Then Gurudev understood something is there. That's why they're insisting me to come out. So he came out, hand on the shoulders. He kept hand on my shoulder. He came out. And there was like flowers, some decoration, and so many preparations were there, offerings were there, arati. And Gurudev, what is this? What's happening? What is the occasion? So we made Gurudev sat on a very nice seat, some little flower decoration. Guru said, what's happening? Then Sripad Madha Maharaj said, today's appearance day of Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. Oh, Srila Guru said, oh wow, acha. So why these boys are here? And Gurudev looked at me. Huh? Why not going Vrindavan to celebrate? There must be some celebration today. I say, yes, Gurudev. Then why you are here? We said, Gurudev, if you are here, what is the need to go Vrindavan? We keep you and Guru Maharaj on the same altar. Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, not different. And today is the time to serve Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru together. By serving you, by offering everything to you, is same as offering to Guru Maharaj. Gurudev became very grave. He started thinking for 2 minutes. Gurudev said, no. He wants to give us one lesson. And throughout his life, Gurudev always telling this. No difference, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. It's same from Chetan Chetamit, Kaviraj Goswami says. But he is playing a role of Acharya and showing one example. Gurudev said, no. I'm disciple of Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. He's just like my Guru Maharaj, Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. How a disciple can receive the offering of Guru Varga? He's my Guru Varga. He's my Shiksha Guru. I'm not capable of accept his offerings. They should be offered to him. But we said, Gurudev, you are our Shiksha Guru. We have no one else. You are only our guardian. And we see non-difference. Not different. You and my Guru Maharaj same. But Gurudev said no. So who's right, who's wrong? We are right from our perspective. And Gurudev is an Acharya showing some example. He's right from his perspective. Gurudev said, no, I'm going inside. I can't receive the offering of Puri Maharaj. I can't. Okay, you have any picture of your Guru Maharaj? I said, no, Gurudev, we are not carrying any picture. And Gurudev looked towards Poonam Didi. You have any picture of Puri Maharaj? She said, wait a minute. Generally, we don't have, but let me check. She found one Harmonist magazine and Guru Maharaj article there, and the picture was there. She said, yes, I got. Gurudev said, give me. Gurudev kept this picture of Guru Maharaj on his lap like this. And then Gurudev said, now whatever you want to do, you can do. Now I'm not at fault. All offerings will go to your Guru Maharaj. Otherwise, I'm as disciple cannot receive the offering of your Guru Maharaj who's Ma Bhagavad. How can I? I cannot. But now whatever you do, I'm relaxed. I'm not stressed now. So we started our ceremony, taking his socks out, and did Abhishek to his lotus feet. And then Arati, Shri Guru Charana Padma, and then so many preparations. And Gurudev, with his hands on the preparations, he chanted mantra. I don't know what mantra, but I understood he offered to Guru Maharaj with Guru Mantra. And after offering for 2 minutes, 1 minute, then Gurudev handed over that magazine, Harmonies, to us, back to us. And then he started eating. And then foodie pastimes. Whatever is there, he's just taking. And Madhamara staring at him. Because he just came from hospital. He was not allowed. But with what mood? He just took little from everything. Understanding this is Mahaprasad of Puri Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj. So we told this pastime to many devotees. How exemplary Srila Gurudev is. Acting position of Acharya, always teaching by example. Otherwise, Gurudev would have immediately accepted all offering by giving example. So I'm keeping up here some other time, some more pastimes, some more memories. But I pray to all Vaishnavas, I may remember Gurudev memories every day. Please pray for me that I'm able to do that. Thank you so much. Vanchakalpatarubhyacha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavbhyo namo.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to comment, and I mean this seriously, your English is fantastic. I'm very poor at understanding English when spoken by Indian person. I'm not very good at it, but you I can hear very clearly, so thank you. Really good. I have to also share with you that I'm really always in regret that I never met your Gurudev, because when I first saw the picture of him lying down, meeting Srila Gurudev, that beautiful picture, I think I have it on my WhatsApp, I just saw I felt their whole relationship just in that interaction, that photograph. He seems such an amazingly sweet and rasik acharya. So maybe when you come back, you can also share pastimes about him. It would be wonderful. And what really struck me was when you were talking about the distinction between seva and volunteer. It reminded me of the story in Chaitanya Charitamrita between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami, where Sanatana Goswami is saying that he wants to commit suicide, and Mahaprabhu is saying, you cannot. How can you end the life of something that's not yours? Your body is mine. So you cannot be a volunteer when you're a sevak, right? Because your mind, body, and soul is Guru's. So this is a beautiful distinction. And when you were talking about all the book seva you did, and the how important it is to have that connection with the Vani of Srila Gurudev. You know, those books are connecting us all. Even if we haven't met Srila Gurudev, we get connected through the books. And Raghava Pandit reminded me the other day, he sent me a WhatsApp, reminding me of a quote Srila Gurudev said, "A day will come when I will not be in this world, and many will think that all these books are so valuable. That day will come." And he said that in 1994. So by your seva, not by your volunteering, your seva is helping that. So thank you so much. Yoshidari, you have some announcements? Thank you.
Firstly, thank you to Margie and all of the speakers that have spoken today. It's like a never-ending. It's never-ending. It's like an ocean, but the ocean is even small in comparison to the glories of Srila Gurudev. So I just want to say thank you to all the devotees that have spoken so far, and I pray to each and every one of you that you also give me some mercy, that I will also become a sevak, like Maharaj said, of Srila Gurudev, and keep inspired to become his servant. I just have a couple of announcements to make in regards to some projects that are currently being run for the Gurudev Centennial. one of the projects is, or one of the centennial is offering Vyas Puja, what did I say? Offering some, sorry, just bear with me 1 second. It's on the wrong phone. This is what happens when you have two phones.
Pushpanjali.
Pushpanjali, that's the one. Thank you. Thanks, Madhara Prabhu. To offer Pushpanjali to Srila Gurudev via a writing, voice note, a video, whatever you feel like, and you can do that and send that to shrilagurudev.com. It's for Gurudev Centennial, so we are trying to collate, or the team that is initiating this is trying to collate as many offerings and Pushpanjalis to Srila Gurudev for his Centennial, so we want to encourage you all to do that. The other thing is there's some other two projects. Madhava Prabhu, I don't know when your book is coming out. So Madhava Prabhu was also doing a coffee book to have on the table, so I just wanted to make sure that I have that, we say something about that. So did you want to say something for 2 minutes about it?
We're still working on it, but there's no actual plan for printing at the moment. So.
I think we need to call it a mate book, not a coffee book.
Call it a delayed book. But anyway, it has entered like a new phase during this whole periods of lockdowns. And we've actually printed most of it out, like hard copy. But as far as the publication goes, that's a bit more tricky because DVP can't do it, and so anyway, it's in the pipeline. So at least we'll have one, I think.
Yeah, and also
can we link up on that? I've always been
definitely
excited by that project. Yashodhari, can you send a link for the Pushpanjali?
Yeah,
offering?
I've just sent it in the I've just sent it to you by accident. I was meant to send that to everyone. Okay, so I'll send that to you guys, and it will come out. It's attached to the normal when you get your WhatsApp messages that I send back, you will have it attached at the bottom. So that's one of them. The other thing is the Gangamata's girls in London have bought a land in Skegness. And so if there's anyone that would like to support that project and helping the girls out with them, please get in touch with Kamla Didi. She'll be most grateful for any support that you guys give there. And the other thing that we've got is that next week we'll have this program again, and we hope that you all can join and you encourage other people to join. And also, please, if there's anyone that you think would be good to join our programs and speak something about in the glories of Srila Gurudev, please get in contact with myself or Sachidananda Prabhu, because we do want to hear more speakers. We do want to hear everyone that has had some contact with Srila Gurudev, even if it's not physical. That there is no bounds with the relationship Srila Gurudev had. So please do get in touch with us, and that's it, really. That was me done. Thank you.
One last thing, just to remind everybody, I sent it in chat. We're doing, we're on course for doing Sankirtan this Saturday around Trafalgar Square. We're just tightening up on the legal side. If you want to join us, then get in touch with either Balabhadra Prabhu or myself. Balabhadra has given his email in the chat, and I've given you my WhatsApp. So that should be a pretty joyous occasion.
Perfect. So would Radhika Didi, would you be able to end our class for us?
Sure. Maharajji, would you like to close with Mahamantra? Are you still there? Sripad Siddhanti Maharaj?
No, we like to hear from you. You sing so good.
I learn from you.
No, that's not true. Don't lie.
Yes, don't you remember the trip to Wales? We learned so many melodies from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ramo, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everybody. Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hello. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Oh Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. I think Radhika Didi or Haripriya Didi would have sing much better. Anyway, you just one time.